can absolutely get real cellar vibes in a normal kitchen if you pick an Undercounter wine refrigerator that cools evenly, runs quietly, and actually fits how you drink wine, reds, whites, or both. In this video, we're counting down 6 Undercounter wine fridges from number 6 to number 1, and by the end you'll know which one feels like a smart buy and which ones feel a little meh once you live with them for a bit. Number 6. Tylza TYWC100. The Tylza is that fridge you notice because it checks a lot of the Undercounter boxes on paper. 15-inch width, built-in or freestanding flexibility, and a dual-zone setup so you can split reds and whites. It's rated for around 30 bottles, which sounds perfect until you start mixing in weird bottle shapes, champagne, Pinot, anything a bit wider, and suddenly you're playing wine Tetris. And you know, that's not a deal breaker, but it does change the 30 bottle dream pretty fast. What I liked right away is the stainless look and the double-layer tempered glass door that's meant to help protect from UV. It gives that clean bar and grill aesthetic, and the beech wooden shelves sliding out feels classy when you're grabbing a bottle for guests. The shelves aren't just for show either. They make it easier to see labels without yanking bottles around, which, I mean, that's half the battle when you're hosting and trying to look like you planned ahead. Now, the dual-zone temperature range is actually useful. The upper zone is listed around 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 55 degrees Fahrenheit, and the lower zone around 55 degrees Fahrenheit to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. That makes it easy to keep whites crisp up top and reds closer to serving temp down below. But here's where I got a little critical. Dual zone is only amazing if both zones feel stable and predictable day to day. And with budget-friendly units, you can sometimes notice the zones behaving slightly differently depending on room heat and how often the door gets opened. Number 5. Koolatron WC12DZ. Okay, the Koolatron is a totally different vibe because it's thermoelectric and compact, and it's really more small space wine station than true Undercounter built in. It's a dual-zone unit that holds 12 bottles total, 6 up top, 6 down below, so it's clearly aimed at casual wine drinkers or apartment life. And honestly, there's something kind of adorable about that size when you're not trying to store a full collection. The best part is the thermoelectric cooling is designed to be quiet and vibration-free, which sounds perfect if you're picky about sediment in wine or you just hate compressor noises. The external touch controls are also genuinely convenient because you can adjust temps or lighting without opening the door and dumping cold air out. And that mirrored, UV-protective double-pane door gives it a sleek look, especially at night with the interior lighting on. But you knew there was a but at number 5. Thermoelectric units can be more sensitive to ambient room temperature, so if your space runs warm, you might not get the same cooling confidence you'd get from a compressor-based Undercounter model. Like, if you're in a hot kitchen in summer and you're expecting it to behave like a built-in compressor wine cabinet, it may feel a little underpowered. It's not bad, it's just the reality of the tech and the size category. Another thing is capacity. 12 bottles sounds fine until you have people over twice, get gifted a couple bottles, and suddenly you're stacking extras on the counter like, where do you live now? Number 4. Wine Enthusiast 288-03-1803. The Wine Enthusiast steps into that more serious appliance territory, especially because it's a dual-zone max compressor wine cooler in the 32-bottle class. The immediate difference you feel is that compressor-based cooling tends to give you more confidence over time. More like, yes, this is actually controlling temperature, not just trying its best. The layout is built for people who want to organize a real rotation. Whites, reds, and those don't touch until the weekend bottles all living in their own spots. And the design is clean and modern, so it doesn't look like a random gadget you shoved into a cabinet. It looks intentional, like part of your kitchen plan. What I personally liked is how this category of cooler tends to handle day-to-day life. The door gets opened, guests browse, you slide shelves out, you close it again, and it still feels stable. That stability is basically what you're paying for in this tier. And if you've ever had a wine fridge that swings temps, you know how stressful that is, because you start questioning every bottle you own. Now, it's not perfect. With compressor wine fridges, you can still hear cycling, especially late at night when the house is quiet. It's not obnoxious, but it's there. And ever bought a wine fridge thinking you're upgrading your life, and then realized it's basically just a noisy mini fridge with opinions? Three, Yeego YEG-WS15-A. And this one surprised me, in a good way, because it leans into the Undercounter lifestyle with front venting and compressor cooling, which is exactly what you want if you're actually installing it properly. The unit size is around 34 inches high, 15 inches wide, and about 22.4 inches deep, which makes it a natural fit for many Undercounter cutouts. The temperature range is 40 to 65 degrees Faw, and in day-to-day use, it felt stable, like not constantly overcorrecting. That matters because wine storage isn't just about cold, it's about calm, and a fridge that's always swinging temps feels stressful even when it's technically working. Capacity-wise, you'll often see it marketed around 33 bottles for the 15-inch format, and that's a sweet spot for most households. Big enough to feel like a collection, small enough to not become a whole personality trait. And yes, bottles still vary, but the internal layout feels more honest than some of the 30 bottles, unless you breathe wrong designs. Design details matter here too. Double-layer tempered glass door, stainless styling, and the overall look is modern without trying too hard. It's the kind of fridge guests notice, but it doesn't scream, "I bought this for validation." This lands at number 3 because it gives you that built-in ready structure, solid capacity, and stable performance without instantly pushing into the luxury markup category. Number 2. Phiestina PH-29BD4L. This is a 15-inch dual-zone compressor wine cooler built around that Undercounter dream. Clean installation, separate zones, and the feeling that your wine finally has a proper home. The dual zones run with an upper range around 40 to 50 degrees Faw and a lower range around 50 to 66 degrees Faw, which is a very practical split for whites up top and reds down below. What I really liked using it day to day is how set it and forget it feels once it's dialed in. There's something satisfying about opening it, seeing bottles neatly organized, and knowing you're not gambling with flavor every time you pour. The shelves slide smoothly, and that sounds small, but it changes the experience. When shelves snag or wobble, you baby every bottle like it's a house of cards. When shelves glide, you actually enjoy the fridge. And it works for more than wine too. Sparkling water, craft cans, even fancy mixers, because dual-zone storage is basically a beverage superpower when you entertain. You can keep the serve now stuff cold and still protect your reds from being stored too chilly. This one ranks so high because it hits the practical sweet spot. Real Undercounter compatibility, meaningful dual-zone ranges, and an overall premium feel that doesn't feel like it's trying to trick you. Number 1. Luztolent JC-79WD. This is the unit that, when you step back and look at your kitchen, makes everything feel more complete, like the space was designed for adults who actually enjoy their home. It's marketed as a built-in or freestanding wine cooler, and the biggest thing it gets right is that Undercounter presence. It doesn't just store wine, it adds that clean, finished look people want when they're upgrading a kitchen or building a home bar vibe. In use, it feels focused on the basics that matter. Consistent chilling, easy access, and that satisfying feeling of having bottles lined up and ready. The set the temp, close the door, move on with life experience is what separates a top pick from a decent pick. And you know, it's also the kind of fridge that encourages you to keep better wine on hand. Like, not because you're trying to be fancy, but because when storage is handled, buying a nicer bottle feels less risky. So if the goal is the best Undercounter wine refrigerator from this list, the one that feels like the final upgrade, not just another appliance, this is the one that earns the top spot. Final thought. That's all for today, folks.